Good morning, ma'am, and welcome to our Consciously Positive. And we look forward to your talk, Atlantis, A Lost Utopia Part 2. We learned a lot of insights in the previous session where you spoke about how Atlantis was, how we still have a spiritual memories. So we would like to explore the spiritual memory and how we can actually have an access to it so that we also become an evolved people. So, ma'am, please, over to you now, and please enlighten us with your golden words.
Thank you so much for that welcome, Ria. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining in. So, yes, we were talking about Atlantis, the last session, and we saw that it was a truly utopic place, an ideal place to live in, and people were very spiritually evolved. It was a very rich civilization. So, I'll just share my screen. Yeah, my screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay,
We
great.
can
Thank
see
you.
your screen.
Thank you. So it's a total mystery because it was a lost utopia last time. Today we're looking at it as a mystery. What was it all about? So it was, as I said, a beautiful city, very well planned. And in fact, it's even said that those houses were covered by sheets of auriculum, the mineral that was found over there, which was like gold. And it used to glint a lot. It was like a shining city. It was a very beautiful city. And then we also saw how connected it was to the sea. It allowed easy access to the sea. So cities on Atlantis were really prosperous. And when you're so settled, when you have so much, when you have everything that you need to live a good life, then a desire for power comes in. So as it usually happens with people who have a lot of wealth and power, the Atlanteans also wanted more. They wanted more power. So, and in their lust for power, they started attacking all the other areas around them. So they were in fact regarded as very powerful warriors. So where they were spiritually evolved, they'd come down to that stage where they were hungry for power and they started attacking other countries around them. So they had a very powerful navy. No, they faced very little resistance. कहीं पे भी जाते थे तो easily attack होके overpower कर लेते थे because other countries around them, they were technologically inferior to them. तो इनके पास technology, इनके पास weapons, सब कुछ बहुत था. But so they got lots of areas of Africa, of Europe under control, but they could not conquer one city, and that was Athens. The Greek city thi. The people of Athens, they resisted the invaders very powerfully, and unko वापस भी भगा दिया था. Now their lust for power became so bad that in the end they fell out of the gods' favor. Atlanteans jo the, they fell out of favor because this was a divine experiment of the universe. So when their minds became like so, जैसे कहते हैं ना, दूषित हो गए, खराब हो गए, they lost their earlier spiritual powers. The gods became very angry with them. And in a single day and night, Atlantis was destroyed by an earthquake and a flood. सब कुछ वहां पे जो है तहस नहस हो गया within one day. So जो once which was the beacon of culture, जो इतनी उसकी वो नाम थी, मान्यता थी, वो सब एक ही रात में खत्म हो गई. And why? Because as these Atlanteans grew powerful, their ethics declined. So जो है ना सारे वो conquer में पड़ गए कि control करना है. They conquered many countries and they enslaved the people. So as a divine punishment, the island was like had to face earthquakes and floods, and सब कुछ खत्म हो गया. So in a single day and night, there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and the island of Atlantis disappeared into the depths of the sea. कुछ नहीं रह गया, सब खत्म हो गया. Only water and sea, nothing was left. when the experiment of Atlantis was first activated, this we were looking at the 5th time when it was first activated, तो पूरे अटलांटिक ओशन में ये भरा हुआ था, इतना इतना बड़ा एरिया था कि जो हमारा अटलांटिक ओशन, इट वाज द लैंड वाज देयर. देन एज द एनर्जी ऑफ द पीपल डिवॉल्व, कम होने लग गई, तो नंबर ऑफ ट्रायल्स हैपेंड. तो ईच ट्रायल में लैंड जो है ना श्रिंक करने लग गया था, तो आइलैंड वाज बिकमिंग स्मॉलर एंड स्मॉलर. और जो द वन वी वर लुकिंग एट, इट वाज द 5th एंड फाइनल civilization, and this was spread over only 5 islands in the Atlantic Ocean, और नॉर्थ अमेरिका तक जो है ना फैला हुआ था. और अब जो है ना द ओनली रिमेनिंग पार्ट्स जो है दे आर फेल्ट. एक तो गोल्डन एजोर्स एक नाम है, एक जगह है वहां पे, दिस इज लाइक अमेरिका और अफ्रीका के बीच में अटलांटिक ओशन में, एंड द कैनरी आइलैंड्स. इन 2 एरियाज में और लगता है कि दिस कुड बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द ओल्ड अटलांटिस रीजन. और एक बहामास में भी, like this was the map proper, Azores और Canary Islands कहाँ है, और जो बहामास है that is nearer the American side. So जो है ना थोड़ा थोड़ा जो है ना they believe that they may be a part of the Atlantic experiment. तो थोड़ा सा ही रह गया. Now we come to the $1 million question about the authenticity of this civilization. था भी या नहीं था? Because we have no proof about its existence, no ruins, no manuscripts, कुछ भी नहीं है हमारे पास. नहीं तो कुछ तो मिलता ना, तो पर उसके बारे में कुछ भी नहीं हमें पता. In fact, the ancient Greeks, जो प्लाटो's टाइम के थे, they were also divided कि इसको एज अ हिस्ट्री ले और जस्ट इमेजिनेशन, कि प्लाटो की इमेजिनेशन थी, तो दे आर ऑल्सो डिवाइडेड अबाउट इट. ऑफ कोर्स प्लाटो जो था, ही वाज इंस्पायर्ड बाय व्हाट ही हर्ड फ्रॉम हिज ग्रैंडफादर. सो ही बिलीव्ड इन इट कि माय ग्रैंडफादर टोल्ड मी. बट देन एन इवेंट ड्यूरिंग हिज लाइफ टाइम, प्लाटो की लाइफ टाइम में भी एक इवेंट हुआ which strengthened his belief that Atlantis was possible, वो exist करता था, और उसकी destruction हुई. And this was because there was a Greece में एक island था near the like Turkey is Greece की उसमें जगह में. Just show another map. So this was the island of Peloponnese, और इसके एक city थी हेलिकी. This was a major regional naval power. तो इसके सेलर्स जो थे, दे नेविगेटेड मेडिटेरेनियन सी. कॉलोनीज उन्होंने एस्टैब्लिश कर ली थी बहुत सारी, एशिया माइनर में, सदर्न इटली में. एंड इट वाज अ वेरी पावरफुल मैरीटाइम पावर. मतलब इनकी सी नेवल फोर्स जो है ना बहुत पावरफुल थी. एंड इनका जो मेन डीटी था वो दैट वाज अगेन गॉड पोसाइडन, जो वाज अटलांटिस का भी. तो अकॉर्डिंग टू प्लाटो, अटलांटिस का जो था गॉड पोसाइडन था, तो हेलेकी का भी था. और यहाँ पे इसके जो कॉइन्स वगैरह थे इसके फिगर से, इसके हेड से ना. एंड देयर वाज अ ह्यूज टेंपल आल्सो डेडिकेटेड टू हिम, एंड दे हैड क्रिएटेड अ मैसिव स्टैचू ऑफ पोसाइडन. बहुत बड़ा सा उन्होंने एक स्टैचू लगा रखा था. दिस बिकेम द ब्रिंगर ऑफ देयर डूम आल्सो, जो स्टैचू था. Because there was another area near them, Ionians कहते थे उनको. They requested कि हमें भी जो है ना ये स्टैचू लगाने की परमिशन दे दो, because it was there, so they at that time they had to ask permission. But then the Helicians जो थे, they refused permission, they didn't give it. So एक night, within one night in 373 BC, हेलिकी में भी वही चीज हुई जो अटलांटिस में it is supposed to have happened. So without warning, an earthquake happened, और entire city जो थी, it just sank beneath the waves. So एक ही रात में जो ancient इतनी powerful power थी ancient Greece की, it just disappeared. सारे inhabitants के साथ ही. तो उस टाइम तो they had a little more power, so many people जो थे आसपास की countries में, they tried to dive down and see what had happened, if they could rescue anything. कुछ सामान ही ले आते, because it was a very rich city also, but कुछ भी नहीं मिला उनको. They could not do anything. and for centuries जो ruins थी, they were visible beneath the waters. तो ड्यूरिंग द रोमन एम्पायर तो टूरिस्ट जाते थे देखने के लिए कि वो नीचे है, सबमर्ज सिटी है पानी के अंदर. बट देन ग्रेजुअली जो है ना इट गॉट सिल्टेड ओवर एंड सून ऑल ट्रेसेस ऑफ द टाउन जस्ट सिंपली वैनिश्ड. ये तो अभी लेट 20th सेंचुरी में इट वाज रीडिस्कवर्ड कि इट वाज एन एक्चुअल प्लेस. सो अगेन that is why people believe that it could have been the inspiration for Plato's story, because ये हुआ था, so he believed that Atlantis भी हुआ था. Then since the 19th century, in the current times, what was this picture? Yeah, this was a artist rendition of what that city looked like. So you can see the head of the god Poseidon in the foreground. तो एक बहुत huge statue था. तो इसी की वजह से जो है ना सारा काम खराब हुआ. अब जो है ना इन आवर करंट वर्ल्ड 19th सेंचुरी से बहुत ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट आ गया है प्लेटो की एंड एटलांटिस में. सो लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर रिसर्चिंग ऑन इट, हिस्टोरियंस, आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट, साइंटिस्ट सब लगे हुए हैं. तो कभी कोई स्पेन के पास मिलता है कुछ तो दे स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अरे दिस मस्ट बी एटलांटिस. कुछ बहामास के पास मिलता है तो अरे ये माइट बी द सोर्स ऑफ द एटलांटिस स्टोरी. बट द वाइडेस्ट एक्सेप्टेंस जो आती है ना वो एक जगह है ग्रीक आइलैंड ऑफ सैंटोरिनी. This is a half submerged site which was supposed to have vanished in the 2nd century BC, and that too again due to a volcanic eruption. So this was the base of the Minoan civilization. और ये भी civilization was very advanced. It was exactly like Atlanta जैसे था. They also had a very strong navy, and they were in control of quite a number of neighboring countries. And then they also they are mighty. They also worship the god Poseidon. They worship the son of god Poseidon, Minos. तो वो भी थोड़ा सा Atlantis की तरह मिलता था. But then there was a volcanic island, Thera, that erupted, and this whole area also got totally washed out. And this happened in like 1500 BC के आसपास जो है ना ये हुआ था. इसमें भी वही था कि earthquake happened, tsunamis hit, and the whole island collapsed. और इसमें they कहते हैं कि eruption was so powerful, बहुत ही powerful eruption था इस island का, that it erupted a 20-mile high जो है ना ash cloud हुआ था इस time पे when this island erupted. And it's supposed to have created darkness for almost 2 years. मतलब that ash took 2 years to settle down. And it reached Egypt also, क्योंकि वहां पे भी इसका रिकॉर्ड है कि ऐश जो है ना वॉल्केनो इरप्शन का ऐश वहां तक पहुंचा था. और उसका जो मैप था आइलैंड का अर्लियर सैंटोरिनी का, it later more than half of it just disappeared. So this is the area where Santorini is supposed to be. Greece और Turkey के बीच में this is the area where it is supposed to be. So these are some of the historians, they keep trying to figure out कि कहाँ पे होएगा, कैसा था. तो ये सारी जो है ना researches है उनकी. It could be possible here, there, कुछ भी हो सकता था. Then another theory to support the authenticity of Atlantis was कि it was destroyed around 9600 BC. That is 11,600 years from the present day. Now this period जो है, it is known as the Younger Dryas period, which was a period of rapid warming and rapid cooling. बहुत जल्दी warm भी हुआ था और बहुत जल्दी cooling भी हो गई थी. And Earth climate जो था ना उस time it shifted from a cold glacial world to a warmer climate. उस time हुआ था ये. So उसका क्या impact हुआ था कि there were a lot of floods, क्योंकि एकदम से warming हो गई तो there were a lot of floods which came down from Greenland. Maybe because they think that a meteor impact happened on the glacier of Greenland, और उसकी वजह से massive ice melt हो गया, and it caused floods all over the world. So this was the area where it was supposed to have affected. These are the areas. This was the Younger Dryas boundary field जो है ना, this was the area it was supposed to have affected. So जो इसकी जगह है जहाँ मीटियोर हो सकता है उसका लोकेशन जो है ना ग्रीनलैंड में सोचा जाता है कि दिस वाज वेयर इट इम्पैक्टेड. एंड इट इज व्हाई बिकॉज a huge crater has been uncovered beneath the Hiawatha Glacier. इसके नीचे, now we have the technology, so a crater has been discovered, which could have been formed only by a meteor. And यहाँ पे जो है ना बहुत सारे platinum deposits वगैरह भी मिले हैं, which are again a result of a meteor impact. So that is the reason why they feel that यहाँ पे meteor impact हुआ था, उसकी वजह से global warming हुई and floods happened. And this was dated to around roughly the time when Atlantis disappeared. So this is another theory कि उसकी existence थी, and because of this it vanished. Then there is one more theory, which is the placement of Atlantis. It is just at the entrance of the Straits of Gibraltar. उसके ये है ना अमेरिका है, and this is the European side. 10-15 kilometers from the Straits of Gibraltar, इस portion में you could say, there is a submerged bank. मतलब थोड़ा सा वहां पे ना ocean का floor उठा हुआ है. And deep sea divers have explored that area also. But because due to some reason, this is a very busy route. अब तो ये island नहीं है ना बीच में, ये तो पूरा clear है. तो this is a very busy route. और यहाँ पे ना एक area है जहाँ पे it is impossible for the ships to pass because the floor is not low, it is high. And this is believed that it is caused by the subsidence कि कोई एक island यहाँ पे जला गया होगा पानी और जमीन में. That is why the floor of the ocean is raised at this point. So now we have the technology. So sonar scanning has been done, which is a technique of using sound to communicate or detect objects, usually underwater. Computerized graphics वगैरह के through, we are able to map the floor. So scientists and geologists जो है ना, they have been able to establish कि यहाँ पे एक island था, and like Plato had suggested, it got submerged. So they call it the subduction zone. So it's a boundary between tectonic plates. You might have heard of tectonic plates in your geography lessons. So our whole world is divided into that. पूरा जो हमारा world, it rests on those tectonic plates. And जो breaks है ना, they are fault lines. जो ये blue lines दिख रही हैं, they are fault lines. और जहाँ पे ये थोड़ा सा भी हिल जाते हैं, there are different movements. तो एक तो होता है lateral sliding के आगे पीछे हो जाती है जगह इन प्लेट्स की जब पॉइंट पे, या स्प्रेड हो जाती है, अलग अलग हो जाती है. और द थर्ड वे इज सबडक्शन, कि एक पार्ट जो है ना दूसरे के नीचे चला जाता है. एंड दीज फॉल्ट लाइंस है, कभी भी हिल सकती है. वी हैव नो कंट्रोल ओवर देम. सो दैट इज व्हाट दे बिलीव. एंड दैट व्हेन अर्थक्वेक्स हैपन, दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस, दे आइदर स्लाइड हो जाते हैं और या फिर स्प्रेड हो जाते हैं या उसके नीचे चले जाते हैं. सो दिस एरिया जहां पे वो एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं, दैट इज अ सबडक्शन zone. So the land has just subsided. So the geology reports जो हैं, they support Plato's account of the destruction of Atlantis. But there's the other side also, कि यहाँ पे कोई traces of construction of anything, nothing has been found. Despite all the exploration and all the sonar scanning, कुछ भी नहीं मिला. Then over the years, many scientists and philosophers जो है, उन्होंने भी Atlantis के बारे में theories दी हैं. और एक 1627 में एक English philosopher and scientist था, Francis Bacon. He published a novel also, The New Atlantis, and also showed it as a very politically and scientifically advanced society, which was an island. Then in the last century, America has created a department of Atlantology, जो कि सिर्फ it is researching on the existence of the mystery of Atlantis. And the leader of this department is Ignatius Donnelly. And in 1882, he also wrote a book to prove the existence of Atlantis. He examined it from many scientific angles, and उन्होंने भी एक book लिखी. And his book, literally you could say, this was in 1882 that he wrote the book. तो उसके बाद तो और भी जैसे ना लोगों में frenzy आ गया कि नहीं, बहुत जोश आ गया कि हमने ढूंढना है ये आइलैंड कहाँ पर है, क्या है. So it really roused their curiosity even more to understand this island. Even in this book, Ignatius has written that it was a very advanced civilization. And from Atlanta, people went to all over the world, because at that time, rest of the world was still in the, you could say, earlier ages. ब्रॉन्ज एज तक पहुंचे थे या स्टोन एज तक थे कई, तो इन्होंने जाके जो है ना सबको एडवांस किया था. So now these were some of the you could say philosophical angles. अब जो practical है ना, कई explorations have been carried out under the sea, because now we have the technology. So one very interesting site was found off the coast of East China Sea. And it's a very extraordinary place. It's as big as 5 football fields. Itna bada area hai wo. And look at it, itne huge stairs bane hue. And the walls are so smooth. Sare jo walls hai na, they are very smoothly cut. Just see the kitne properly जैसे cutting हो रखी है किसी चीज की, वो है regulated structures, and these cannot be natural. So by using sonar scans, सारा area को map किया गया है, and then they also have a technique of called draining the ocean. I'm going backwards instead of forward, sorry. So virtually they have drained the oceans to explore what is beneath, and this is what has come up. So scientists believe that it could be either a castle, a huge castle, or a temple. And they think that it was carved from just one solid mass of rock. मतलब अलग ये नहीं कि उठा के रखे गए हैं, इतने बड़े बड़े ब्लॉक्स तो रखे भी नहीं जा सकते थे आराम से. So there was just one solid mass, जिसमें से maybe they cut it in some way and they have created that. Because just look at the smoothness of the walls, कितने एकदम से कटे हुए, तो ये natural हो ही नहीं सकते किसी तरह से. But problem is, यहाँ पे भी exploration में no artifacts have been found. So कुछ हमें कोई information नहीं मिल सकती कि यहाँ पे कैसे लोग थे, क्या use करते थे, कुछ भी नहीं मिलता. Then another site was discovered in the Mediterranean region, again off the coast of Greece. It was called Pavlopetri, giving it the name of an island nearby. And it has also revealed a complete submerged town. उसके ना ये ऐसे जैसे लाइंस बने हुए हैं पूरी ना स्टोन्स लगा के, कोई जैसे बिल्डिंग का कुछ बना हुआ होएगा, ऐसे हैं, ऐसी मिली हैं. So it seems to be a very well laid out जो है ना cities. They believe that the walls could have been this way. मतलब जो pieces उनको मिले ऐसे walls बने हुए थे. And it was like complete with streets and houses. ये उसके ऊपर वो diagrams बनाए हुए. But these are the lines that were found there. वहाँ पे उनको ये दिखे हैं सारे. So this is an artist's rendition of what it was like. इस तरह का maybe a township was there. And even artifacts have been found here. यहाँ पे जो है ना, and they're pointing to a very advanced civilization. And this has been dated back to 5,500 years ago. A lot of commercial activities seem to be going on because large pieces of pottery, बहुत सारी चीजें मिली हैं यहाँ पे. And this could be a hub of textile industry also, because ये मिले, weights मिले हैं वहाँ पे. And these can only be possible if people were using something like that. So ये weights यहाँ पे use होते हैं. So they are already, they believe that this is an artist rendition again of what the situation must have been like, setup कैसा था. And what was the final? Yes. And this is what, again, an artist creation of what the city must have looked like. So it was a very well-planned cities, proper streets ke saath and everything. And they found a lot of stuff also, which were only advanced civilizations could use. But unfortunately, there is no historical reference of this city anywhere. किसी account में नहीं है कुछ, मतलब इतनी बड़ी area था, मिला है हमें, पर इसका कोई account नहीं है. Like they scientists think that it's a case of out of sight, out of mind. उस time किसी ने record नहीं रखा. So again, this is supposed to have submerged due to an earthquake. And this is the oldest submerged city that has been found in the world. But unfortunately, it also cannot be connected to Atlantis because it's not in the area where Atlantis is supposed to be. Plus, it was just 5,500 years ago. But one thing has definitely emerged, that sea levels were much lower. And over the course of 15,000 years, you could say, sea levels rose by almost 400 feet. After the last ice age, 400 feet पानी ऊपर हो गया है, तो जो areas low lying थे, near the ocean थे, they all just vanished. सब पानी के अंदर चले गए. So I'll just finish this. So this was stop share. So this was another, these were some scientific explorations and evidences pointing to the existence of Atlantis, but no concrete conclusion has been reached by even scientists. वो भी नहीं कह सकते कि exist करता था या नहीं. They're all theories about this elusive island of Atlantis. Now there is another source as well where we get information about Atlantis, and that's a metaphysical one. ये तो हमें practical देखे थे कि हाँ, there are ruins under the water, we can see them also, we can connect to them कि हाँ कुछ exist करता था. But now we will explore a totally metaphysical approach to Atlantis, but that I'll do in the next time now. So I end over here now. Thank you so much for joining in. Any questions, any insights you would like to share? Anyone would like to share?
I'd like to ask one thing, ma'am, as we have often seen that people, when they achieve something, even it happens with a greatest of the great souls, that people, in the most spiritual souls as well, that they achieve something. Since you talk about power, so what makes them power hungry? I mean, see, you are doing it for your own soul. Like if any one of us become enlightened, like there are 8 limbs of yoga. So I mean, it's for our own soul. So why this arrogance and power comes in? Because we are not doing it for others, right? We are not doing it for our parents, and we are getting enlightened. We are not doing it for. Yes, we do bring glory, and we do bring lot of blessings. We do take a lot of blessings to our parents. We do bring a lot of comfort to our parents by doing this, but we are not actually doing it for others. Like whatever enlightenment we are getting, we are doing it for ourselves. So what makes people become power hungry because of that?
So it's not everyone who gets power hungry, but we are human beings. And human nature mein, we have a very important ingredient, and that is ego. So and it is natural when many people are like आपको आगे पीछे घूम रहे हैं or praising you, तो वो ego आ जाती है. And then that ego pushes you towards gaining more and more power. Okay, I want more fame or more power, whatever it is. So that brings your downfall, because ego cannot survive in a spirituality cannot survive in an atmosphere of ego. तो आप फिर उस वाली लाइन में चल पड़ते हो.
Even if a person has become a spiritually evolved person, and वो ego आ जाता है, या वो power के हम कुछ हैं, या मतलब I would say arrogance आ जाता है. Yes. I guess वो तब भी इंसान का downfall होना start हो जाता है.
बिल्कुल. So we have to be, and ego is so subtle. At subtle levels also it is there. So आपको पता भी नहीं चलता. You don't realize that you are in that state of ego. इतना subtle होता है वो.
So basically, for our spiritual growth, we need to be humble and a good human first.
And very aware कि कहीं ego तो नहीं आ रहा.
कभी होता है, हमें लगता है कि हमें उनको भी validation issues हो जाते हैं, मतलब जो evolved soul होते हैं, हमें लगता है कि चलो उनका सब कुछ sort out है, लेकिन कभी उन्हें भी हो जाता है कि अरे हमें वो recognition चाहिए, हमें ये चाहिए, तो I mean you do end up doing wrong things. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a beautiful answer.
Thank you, Meenu ji.
Thank you.
I have a question, Meenu.
Yes,
This is Philomena here.
Yeah.
And my question is, you're talking about Atlantis, but there is another civilization also called Lemuria. which
ji.
has gone down.
Yes.
You have any knowledge of that and share that with
I
us?
will be sharing that because Atlantis ke sath Lemuria is connected.
It's
In all that I've
connected,
been
right?
researching, Lemuria has come up, and I'm planning to go to that as well.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
okay,
I'll
because
be picking that up
I
later.
have a special feeling towards Lemuria because I feel that I may have in some past life. And I've also done something called Lemuria temple healing
Okay, wow.
in one of my modalities of healing that I've learned. Yeah, Siddha group, something that spiritual
Okay.
Siddha, this thing.
Uh-huh.
And I feel that I may have been there, and I want to know what I have brought from there,
Uh-huh.
whether my suffering or my non-suffering is connected with, so that I can move on.
Yeah, I'll be taking that up also.
So I would like you to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
You'll have to wait for a
Thank
couple
you
of
so
days
much.
because
And have you studied something, or you just got channeled into it, or something like that?
no, I've been like researching on this. Like I'd heard
Okay.
looking at videos and researching material